Is that racist? Is that an example of cultural appropriation? What about this then? Trying and failing to work out why some people get sent to the gallows whilst others are seemingly invisible. The media person Kim Kardashian, the restaurateur Gordon Ramsay, a university canteen in Ohio, and the singer Adele. Anyone see the connection? Well, it's a bit of an odd one, but in 2020, in a world whose senses were pricked up to capture anything which had a slight whiff of racism about it, these four got a drubbing for cultural appropriation. These three people and a canteen were attacked for taking something from another culture and using it for themselves. Thereby, the logic goes, behaving in much the same manner as the British Empire builders, wandering about the globe, nicking bits and pieces of other cultures. Now, this didn't used to be a problem, did it? If it had always been a problem, then we wouldn't eat pizza, because that would be disrespectful to the Italians, surely. We wouldn't sample different types of music, and we wouldn't have people like Vanilla Ice and Eminem, white people rapping. But we do. We all know that we do. We see the mixing of elements from different cultures around us all the time. It didn't used to be a problem, but now it is. At least for some people. Gordon's new restaurant wasn't genuine enough somehow, and at his preview night, there was only one East Asian woman present who was very upset about this fact. The same woman, it must be said, went on to describe the head chef's wife as a token Asian wife, which seems somewhat at odds with her earlier complaint. Kim's new underwear line was attacked in Japan for butchering Japanese culture. Her crime? She called the new line kimono. The university canteen's crime was also connected to Asia. They attempted, erroneously it appears, to serve sushi. According to a college junior from Japan, the sushi's undercooked rice and lack of fresh fish is disrespectful. Some of these people clearly need less free time, and so to Adele, a singer who posted a photo of herself in a Jamaican print bikini with her hair in Bantu knots, a traditional African hairstyle. She too came in for a kicking, with people frothing at the mouth about her being able to wear African hairstyles and not suffer disadvantages as a result, whilst they, African women, were forced to suffer discrimination when they did the same. Black women are discriminated against for wearing cultural hairstyles like Bantu knots and locks, but white people are not, and that's not fair, and that's why people are pissed off. Okay. So it's racist to wear your hair in Bantu knots, unless you're a black woman. Or is it still racist if you're black? Do you have to be African as well, or is that splitting hairs? Okay, well, what about in Budapest? What about in the heart of the liberal community here in Budapest? What about this guy? He's white, isn't he? Yes, but hang on. What's going on with his hair? That's not a traditional Hungarian appropriate, culturally correct haircut, is it? No, he's got dreadlocks, hasn't he? So is this a different situation? Bantu knots are disallowed for anyone who's not black or perhaps not African, it's still not clear, but dreadlocks are okay for everyone? Getty's dreadlocks, as we can see from the rest of his fashion paraphernalia, indicate that he's heading in the direction of Rastafari. But he's not Ethiopian, and he's not Jamaican either. So isn't this cultural appropriation too? Add to that a very odd facet of Getty's personality. Listen to him when he speaks English.
The nature of humankind is ourselves, the system that we have created the past several thousands of years.
Well, that reminds me of one place and the voice patterns of one place. Jamaican patois.
That's your blood clot is caught me in a bit.
I post one.
So what do you think? Isn't this cultural appropriation, or is this okay because it's the Caribbean? I'm lost. This guy, Getty, stands up and speaks like a white Jamaican and nobody bats an eyelid. Where did he speak? Why yes, that's right, he spoke at the BML, sorry, never mind, the BLM demonstration in Budapest, a demonstration organised to show support for black people. So, we have a white Hungarian man with dreadlocks imitating Jamaican speech patterns, talking at a rally to protest against violence. What's next on the agenda? Michael Jackson's doctor talking about skincare? There were black people at the rally. There was a black woman on stage singing with Getty. And not one person thought, Christ, what a dickhead. I find that hard to believe. Not one person thought that, bar blacking up, what they were doing was the modern day equivalent of Al Jolson or the black and white minstrel show. What's wrong with these people's eyes and ears? Do they not see what is patently obvious? That this man is pretending to be a black man, presumably because he thinks it's cool. All of those earnest people gathered together to condemn racism. The same people who would, no doubt as good little liberals, despair at the cultural appropriation visible in the world. And yet, here they all sit, with a white man who seems intent on insisting that he's a black Jamaican, and nobody bats an eyelid. What the fuck is going on? This man has been to the Caribbean. What on earth did people make of his behavior there? Do you seriously expect me to believe that nobody said, either to his face or behind his back, mate, stop being a dick. You're not black, so stop pretending you are. We've seen videos of black people assaulting white people for appropriating their hairstyles, which is a step up from the reaction that Adele provoked. But that's not happening here, is it? No. At this gathering, nobody seems to notice that one of the speakers is attempting to be black. Isn't that something that would attract comment? Apparently not. If you're a liberal in Hungary, it appears that anything goes. As far as I can see, the only thing that Getty's missing is the blackface. He's got the hair, he's got the vocal patterns, he's the modern day Al Jolson, the next generation of black and white minstrels. He's Gene Wilder, for Christ's sake.
With a certain nature of humankind is ourselves. The system.
Gary may be appropriating everything he finds in Jamaican culture at a rate of knots, but in amongst the liberals of Budapest, he's just cool Gregory G. Raz. There's an elastic yardstick at work here, people.